Hi everyone, it's Eileen from Now There's a Crafty Idea, and I'm here with our first ever Tag Tuesday, which is hopefully going to become a series that we're going to do every Tuesday. We're going to make different types of tags, different types of decorations, and if you've got any suggestions that you want me to do or anything that you think would be good for the series, pop a comment down below and I will see if we can get around to doing them. So for the first one, we're going to do this lovely little tag. Now I've made it out of music paper. This is a very sturdy music paper. You can make it out of any paper that you want really. These are great made out of coffee dyed paper if you want. I've layered up an image on the front with some nice coffee dyed paper, some German book paper with a beautiful font, and then this lovely image which is a Mrs. Coggs image. I can't remember which pack it's from, but I'll pop a link down below so that you can pop over and see her Etsy. She has some marvellous images. And then you open this one up and inside you've got these two lovely pockets with tags and lots of journaling space. And then on the back you've got all this lovely journaling space. So it is a tag, but it's a tag with a secret. And you know me, I love my little secret journaling spots. So that's the one that we're going to make today. So I'm just going to get started straight off. So first of all, you want to choose yourself a paper. It doesn't have to be really thick paper, but you don't want it to be fine paper. There is a little bit of structure put in with the coffee dyed paper, but it's, you know, you need the paper to be quite sturdy to take all the folds. So this is a vintage music paper I found. It is from quite a big book, because I've made my tag big. You can make it to whatever size you want really, so you can start at any size. So I'm going to start off by just cutting this down to size, and I'm not going to measure anything because we're just going to go by eye. And we do, if I was measuring for a particular size journal, then yeah, I would probably measure things, but I'm not. I'm just going to do this by eye so that I'll have a journal that a tag that will fit into any journal really. I'm just cutting off the white spaces because I don't want the white spaces. I just want the music, and that's the only thing I'm going to trim off. And for this, it's a good idea if you get a page, if you're going to use music, I'll just put this out the way. If you're going to use music, then use one that's got music front and back, because otherwise when you make your tag and you open it up, you can see on this one it's got the music, so you don't want that to be different. Now, first of all, we'll do our folds. So decide which side you want on the front. It doesn't really make that much difference because most of this is going to be covered up, and you just want to fold it down the middle, making sure you've got it specifically lined up straight down the middle. Give it a really good crease. That's your first fold. And then your second fold, decide on how deep you want your pockets. So you can have them shorter and have a longer tag, or you can have them deeper and have a shorter tag. It's up to you really. Again, I'm just going to eyeball this because I'm an eyeball kind of girl, and I'm just making sure that this seam in the middle matches up. I know you can't see that on camera, but I just want that to match up. Right, now that's your basic folds. So the next thing we're going to do, I want the pockets to fit, so I'm going to trim off the edges. Now here's the fold, you can see here. I'm going to trim this in a little V, a very shallow V, down to about 1 millimetre above that fold. I don't want to go all the way because I want there to be a little bit of structure there. And then I'm going to line these up on the other side and do exactly the same. About 1 millimetre up from the fold, and then just a shallow V. And then we'll get rid of those bits. And what that does, once you've got it all folded down, it means that when your tag folds, it's got no bulk coming out the side, and this fold is going to sit nicely because it hasn't got the bulk on the inside as well. Now the next thing we're going to do, as you can see on this one, I've just used a bit of a stencil around on the music just to give it a little bit of depth of decoration. You don't have to do this step. I'm doing it simply because I like using stencils, and I've got this lovely damask one. And I'm just going to quickly do this. Now I'm not going to go all over because I don't want the full pattern. A lot of it's going to be covered up. I'm just going to put patches here and there. And this is just a Hobbycraft pigment stamp. So it's just in a nice brown colour. It doesn't actually have the colour on, but there you go. And I'm just going to put a little bit around the edging down the middle. Like I says, it doesn't really matter having it perfectly aligned, because you don't need it perfectly aligned. You just need a little bit of extra decoration just to give it something. You see how I'm not being particularly careful with it. I just want a little bit of extra decoration on, and I'm varying pressure on the actual brush as well, so that I'm getting some faded and some not so faded, and that way it's giving it a bit more of a vintage texture. You see how where some of it's more faded and some of it's less faded, it gives you just that extra vintage texture. Now I'm going to do this side. I'm going to do the pockets because I'm not decorating them, but again I'm just doing it just a little bit. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I don't want it to look like it's a solid stencil. And then let's get around the edges of here, down the middle, and then a little bit around the edges. There we go. That's it. And we've done both sides and the inside. So we can pop this away now. There we are. So at this point we can glue these, and then that's that done. So where's my glue? Where's my glue? Here we go. So I'm just going to run a bead of glue up each side, and then we'll just glue them down, and then that's the pockets all done. And then we can get onto the decoration then. There we are. You can be a little bit more, you can take a little bit more time and be a bit more precise with me. I'm not rushing, I just want to get this done and show you so that you can see this lovely tag. Now, I have already pre-cut some of the papers to go inside. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as a kind of a template. You can see I'm leaving a border around. So I'm going to use that as a kind of a template. There we go. And then I can just do this other side. And this is what turns it into a tag. You can leave it as just a pocket if you want, without having to cut off the corners, and then it's not a tag, but we're doing Tag Tuesday, so it's going to be a tag. So there we go. Right. Now, as I said, I've already cut two of these. So this one's going to go on the back, and then this is one of the inside ones. Oh yes, that's why I shouldn't have glued the pockets down. Not to worry. There we go. We're going to put that one inside, and I need to do another one. So I'm going to show you how I've done this. So all I've done, I'm just using my rule. You can use a cutter if you want, but you know me, I'm just an eyeball it and hope kind of person. There we go. And this leaves you nice little scraps for to play with your other projects. It doesn't have to be very precise, but try and get these corners right, because I'll tell you why, it's going to look awkward if they're at a different degree on the coffee dyed paper than they are on the music paper, and you don't want that, because it just aesthetically you probably wouldn't even notice it, but subconsciously you'll be looking at it thinking something's just not straight there. I know I do it myself all the time. So just carefully give these a tug. Come on. Like I said, if you don't want to tear these, you can cut them. I like this kind of raw edge look, so I think it goes nice with the precise music paper. So we're just going to glue these down now. Let's move that over, and you can see where I've been doing all my stenciling on my glue page. So let's get this one glued down. I do have a big glue stick, but I honestly don't know where it's gone. You know me, folks, working in chaos here. It'll turn up in a day or two. That's my motto about everything. Drives my husband crazy. It'll turn up in a day or two. Right, here we go. Now I'm going to leave a little border around. There we go. And I've got that pretty much even. You can see now where that's just aesthetically, I think it just adds a little bit more to have it all even and looking as though it's been cut, you know, with that in mind. If you had one on that wasn't, believe me, it could just be a few millimeters out and you would know it. You would, every time you look at it, you would think, yep, that's just not right. It's just not straight. I'm not by any, oh, this is stuck. I need to go a new glue page. I'm not by any means of the imagination a perfectionist, but when it comes to that kind of stuff, it does. Let's just get this bit of paper off. Thank goodness for glue sticks. And just rub it off. There we go. There, right. Now we can glue the pockets down. Oh, comes to something when you design a tutorial and you get it wrong yourself. Right, let's see. Let's get this glued down now. Right, hopefully this should be it. Yeah, there we go. And there you see, you don't have to cut them to the full depth of the tag because they're inside the pockets, you can't see, so it doesn't really matter. Give it a good press down. You can't ink everything up. I think I did ink everything up on the other one, but to be honest, you don't have to. And I'm not going to ink around all the coffee dyed stuff anyway because I like the colours the way they are. I am going to ink around the tag because I can't not. I'm an inking girl and I can't not ink, and it just doesn't look finished to me. Oh, this is the paper I should have replaced. Oh well, here we go again. Right, and again just line it up where you can. I'm just going to rub that bit off. Thank goodness glue stick is forgiving. I tell you what, I don't know what I'd do without it. Let's just put my glue away. Right, put my tops back on because I'm forever leaving them to dry up. Right, this time let's get rid of this page. Let's make another tag out of it. There we go. Cool. Right, so we've got our coffee dye paper on the inside and on the back. While that's drying, we can work on the front. Now, for the front, like I say, this is a Mrs. Coggs image, and I've just got a page from this German book I've got, and the text on it, the font is absolutely gorgeous. It's very vintage, this one, but it's good sturdy paper. So I am just going to tear this, and I want to give it a nice rounded, like oval kind of effect. I like the torn edge. I mean, you could use this image the way it is and just lay it up as is, but I like that torn effect, and I like the oval. So what I'm going to do is, let's get the ink. I'm just going to quickly ink around the edge because I do want this to have more of it. The picture itself is vintage. I want it to have that extra vintage look. And then I'm going to glue this onto the page. Believe me, this makes it easier to tear around things, to have them glued down together. Oh, I'm running out of glue stick. I'm going to have to go and get another glue stick. Excuse me one moment, folks, while I get another glue stick. I will be back. And I've just got them scattered about, so let's hope I can put my hands to one. I do have one somewhere. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Sorry about this, folks. Okay, it's not in there. Let's see if I can find it over here. And okay, well, I can't find another glue stick, so we'll just use our tacky glue. Right, so we'll use a bit of tacky glue instead, just as good, and we'll just put that around our image. There we go, and then we'll get this stuck onto this page. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same with this, but I'm going to leave a little border around because I want you to be able to see that lovely font. So we're going to tear it with a bit of a border. Doesn't have to be precise, it's going to be different all the way around, but that's fine. There we go. Get that little tiny bit there. There we are. And then again, ink it up. There we go. Lots of ink. I want it to have that lovely vintage effect. And then the final part, this is a piece of paper that I was using, and I ended up cutting it too much. We'll just stick this onto here, all the way around. There we are. And then again, just stick this down, try and get it centered so you've got enough room around the outside. And this it's an easy way to do your layering. I find it easier to tear around rather than to wait, like to tear everything round and then glue it all together, because I tend to end up with my shapes that's not that great. Although this one's not going that well. Right, I'm there, I've got it. This paper's a little bit thicker than the other paper. Makes it a bit harder to tear it precisely. But we'll keep going, we'll keep going. Because hey, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's junk journaling for you. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to give that another ink. Again, I'm using Vintage Photo. It's the Tim Holtz Distressing ink. It's one that I pretty much use on everything. Though I have been using Walnut Stain a bit more just lately. I like the extra darkness. And let's get our glue one last time and put the glue around the edge. A little bit more around there. And then we just want to pop this in the centre. Get it lined up and then press it down. That's it. And that gives us our nice layer. Now, because this is made out of a single page and you have glued it, it's going to try and curl a bit. So what I would suggest is while it's drying, just pop a book on top of it and that'll flatten everything down. Now, I've already made the tags for this one, and all I've done is I've took some old packaging tags, used a little bit of the music paper for a background, and then shoved a flower on. I chose lilac because the lilac tree just outside has just started to flower and it's just beautiful. So we'll pop our tags in, and then in the same colours I'm just going to pop a little decoration, and it's just a flower, and I'm just going to stick it on the back just for a little extra decoration, but we're keeping the continuity that we've used. And there we go, folks, that's our lovely pocket. Our first, sorry, not pocket, tag. Our first Tag Tuesday. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do drop a like so that I can see if everybody's enjoying this particular series. And if you've got any suggestions, please pop them in the comments below, because, you know, the more suggestions, the more ideas we get, the better. And I've got tons and tons of different tags to show you, but I'm always willing to try something new. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope everybody's staying safe and staying well. Take care of yourselves, and happy crafting. Bye.